break down the divisional games, talk about the wild card weekend. What a crazy wild weekend it was. Some great upsets, some not so surprises, coaching carousels, who's interviewing for jobs, things of that nature. We're going to give you a little quick breakdown, the odds of this weekend's divisional round games. Uh, we're bringing back on the best of the best today. Adam Altman's coming back on the show today. He'll be coming on here in about 2 seconds or so. But I just wanted to welcome everybody to the show. And let me bring him on right now. Adam Altman, baby. Woo! How's it going, brother?
Let's go, baby. It's going good. What's up, guys? It's
Man,
Adam here again.
Yeah,
That's right,
big
man.
wild card weekend, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, what a crazy weekend. But before we get started, man, I'm excited to be back on the show. Let's bring the energy today, and yes, let's talk fucking football, man.
Let's do it. So, where do you want to start? Which game surprised you the most this past wild card weekend, and which one didn't? But we'll start with the one you love the best this weekend. Biggest surprise for you.
Biggest surprise, I think. I mean, obviously, last week, you guys listening, I took the Browns and the Cowboys. Those were kind of my two surprises of this past weekend, and yeah, it's just cool to see that the Texans, man, showing some firepower in that offense without key players. So it's kind of crazy that they're sitting at plus 9.5 against the Ravens. I know Ravens are a solid team all around, but that's something you might have to look at this weekend in your bets. And towards the end of the show, I got a nice parlay to give you guys. Hopefully, you guys can make some good money this weekend.
Awesome. And so, do you see the Texans upsetting the Ravens this weekend, even with the plus 9?
I do not. I do not see them upsetting the Texans. I mean the Ravens this weekend. For some reason, even though that spread's very high, and I think it's gonna be a lot closer of a game. I do. You got to think that the Ravens, they're definitely a lot more prepared for this game, and the week off, almost a bye week, they're going to come in a little more healthier, ready to rock, and I think they're coming out with some firepower right out of the gate. But I just think that plus 9.5 is a lot of points to give in a divisional playoff game.
Yeah, I agree with you. What was the biggest surprise and upset for you this past wild card weekend? Like, what game was this? Like, wow, I can't believe they won. This team won. They're moving on. Which game was the most surprising to you, other than the Cleveland and Cowboys games and stuff like that? What'd you think of
Yeah,
that
man.
Bucks Philly game on Monday Night Football?
Yes. For some reason, man, that did not surprise me. As a lot of
Well, but it
people,
surprised a lot, like the big players, the people who put the lines for these games, who like for people like us. Yeah, we see the Bucks all the time. We it wasn't a surprise to us, but how do you think though, like the whole betting aspect of it? How do you think they were surprised that the Tampa Bay just came out and beat the shit out of the Philadelphia Eagles?
yes, it's funny. I think I told you, I took the alternate line for the Bucks that game, and
You
ended
did.
up cashing out. But yes, it's what, I can see where a lot of analysts, they're coming from. Um, I think a lot of them, I mean, they thought the Eagles were going to get back on track, losing 5 of their last 6 before that. So I could see where they were going with that, and just I don't know the experience they had from last year, and obviously we all saw the Bucks, in the preseason polls. They were ranked between 28 to 30, like so, and I think a lot of analysts were just surprised. The Bucks have made it this far. They're the 9-8 NFC South team and all that.
Oh,
But
the
it's just
worst conference in football, but yet the NFC East, both teams got their butts whipped, and they're sitting at
I
home
love
on the
that.
golf course.
Yep, that's right, man. So it's just cool to see, and that's the best time of this. Like the best time about this year, this part of the year, is any given Sunday. always said
Amen.
this, and what it really boils down to going forward is the defense. Defense wins championships, and you're going to see the winners from this weekend coming up. They're going to be playing some good defense.
I agree. And speaking of the defense and the weekend coming up, where do you see the Bucks and the Lions game at for this weekend? I personally think we got a better draw getting Detroit compared to the Niners myself. Not saying that it's an easier team, but I personally glad we got Detroit. I shouldn't say we, but the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I'm unbiased. I'm just someone who likes to talk sports and report on sports, so I'm unbiased in
You
this
know
game.
that's what's cool about us too. We do see the other side, even though we are Bucks fans. But where I see this game is at. So let me ask you something, man. So if you're a Detroit fan, are you just happy you got past the first round, or are you expecting a Super Bowl this year? Are you going for it all?
If I'm a Detroit Lions fan, a rational one, um, I always say if you're in it, you got a shot. Do I see them going and winning? No.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that I personally think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can win this game this weekend. Um, I we just proved we got our butts kicked to Philly during Monday Night Football during the season. Then we 2 or 3 weeks later, week 5 or 6, we played in the creamsicle game against the Detroit Lions. We lost to the Detroit Lions then as well, but we're not the same teams that was playing during those weeks. We're playing well. We're gelling. Mike Evans needs to catch. We had a lot. The Buccaneers had a lot of drops in that game. I think the game actually the score was closer than what it even looked like on the scoreboard. I think the Bucks could have had another 14 points on that scoreboard if Mike Evans makes a few catches and because there was one ball he dropped that could have gone to the end zone and we got nothing off it, and there was another drop that would put us in the red zone and we could have scored, but coulda, woulda, shouldas don't matter. But I really can see the Buccaneers. So their line is plus 6.5. I actually see them. I think that they could win by 7. Um,
yeah. So that's kind of cool about that line, right? They only need to win by 7 for that to cover, or lose by 7. You know what I mean?
yeah, lose by 7. Yeah, but I
Yeah,
see them
yes,
winning
correct.
by plus 7.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. You know what? It's gonna boil down to. I mean, I see that. I see that Detroit Stadium, Ford Field, just being absolutely electric. That's going to give the upper hand a little bit to the Lions, as we seen and the Raymond James Monday night. And I don't think I've ever seen the Buccaneers, the Raymond James, that energetic. The atmosphere was just insane,
Yeah,
and it was just a blast seeing Raymond James coming together as a whole to fighting off all those Eagles fans. It was just sight to see.
it was. It was
And
nice to see
yeah,
majority of Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans show up at the stadium. We didn't see much green. We did see green, but not compared to the regular season game. And like you're right, Adam, the energy was electrifying as Ric Flair came and opened the pregame. Woo!
yes,
So
that
good.
was sick. I was like, no way, they really got Ric Flair up there. That was cool. I
It
think
really was.
the Bucks did the operations team. They did a good job with just the whole game display. As
I
you know, they
agree.
got those flags. The flag that should be an every game thing. There's how many teams in the NFL? They have something waving at games or just something. So that's something they should definitely invest in going forward.
I agree. Well, so my favorite game this weekend is the Chiefs Bills game.
Oh yeah,
Um,
100% mine too.
that game is exciting. I wonder how many fans are going to have to dig to their seats again on the way into their stadium
Get
and
there,
into their
right?
seat. That was pretty funny seeing fans having to shovel their way to their seat. Yet here in Tampa, Florida, we were in I think 70 or 68-degree weather, and all these other fans are digging through snow. I kind of just think it's funny.
Yeah.
Um, but that game, they have the Bills favored by 3. over the Chiefs in that game. Where do you see that game? Where do you see um, what needs to happen in order for each team to win?
Okay. Yeah. Whew. If you think about it, man, you got Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, arguably the two best quarterbacks in the game right now. Um, this is literally it's the next Brady versus Manning, and it's really going to boil down to them and how they use their legs. But in order the Chiefs to win, they're going to have to get that ground game going like they did last week against Miami, and with Pacheco back and having Pacheco a week under his belt before this big game could be huge. So definitely invest in the running game. And like I said earlier, it's kind of just playing good defense, filling those holes correctly. And Josh Allen having a spy and just him playing his tail off is going to be huge for them. And kind of just making sure keeping everything in front. And don't let Gabriel Davis and Stephon Diggs to get behind you. I think that would be some key takeaways and for the Chiefs to win. But for Buffalo, yeah, kind of the same thing. Yeah, it's two identical teams in my opinion. So pretty much
So do
just
you think the
having
better defense wins this weekend, Adam, on that game?
100%. Whoever wins the turnover differential is gonna take that game.
I wonder what the temperature is there. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's see. Oh man, I don't know. I can't see it on this part of it, but who has the advantage since both teams play in really bad weather? Does anybody have the advantage in that other than Buffalo just because of the home crowd, or does the weather play an effect for either team?
No, I don't think I don't think there's really much. I mean, Kansas City's used to going on the road playing these types of teams in the playoffs. But yeah, I guess I see why Vegas goes at what -3
Yeah, -3 for the Bills
for the
on that
Bills.
one.
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? They're probably right. I do think the Bills are going to pull it out, but we'll just see how it goes. It's just one of those toss-ups, man. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
just real excited to watch that game.
me too. Like I told you, I was considering taking the show up on the road to that game, but just
Yeah,
didn't work out. But so if I'm looking at that game to bet on that game, Bills at 3. So usually you don't like lines like that because a field goal means you don't win. Oh shit! Shoot! Excuse me. So it's like, do you go with the Chiefs since they're +3? That means you would get say Buffalo wins by 2. You'd at least get 5 points off that. Like you still, because as
yeah.
long as the Bills don't win by 3 or more, you still win that game. Or do you go Buffalo thinking that they're going to win by more than 3?
Um, I would, to be honest with you, man, I would go the Chiefs +3.
Yeah.
It's literally a toss up, and depending on the line, I don't know what the line is at. You probably have better odds betting the Chiefs spread than anything.
Okay, so you take the Chiefs and the points of +3 at -115, and the over under in that game is actually 46. Do you see it going
That's
over?
whew, that's one of those, when it's that low for two teams of that caliber, you're like you're really thinking, oh, I got to slam the over, but I would stay away from that one.
Yeah, especially with that weather factor. That ball, especially in Orchard Park, where that wind flies around brutal, and it's tough to throw the ball on that and even kick it. Um,
Yes. So yeah.
so
So think
for
about
two
this though.
high-powered teams, that line is definitely low, like you said. But
Yes.
we saw a little bit of the Steelers Buffalo game and what it's like to play in that. I mean,
Yeah. And then so what? There was only 3 games played outdoors this past weekend, correct?
let's see. We had
Yes.
ours, Buffalo, Kansas City.
And that was it.
Yeah, I believe so. Wow.
So, and those were all fairly low scoring games, I would say, except, the Buccaneers putting up 32 and the Bills putting up 31. Those other
Bye bye
teams didn't really
Eagles.
score.
Sorry.
Yeah, bye bye, Eagles. So, like I said, you should probably stay away from that line because, I mean, like I said, Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady part two. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it's gonna be all out passing attack, I believe. But whatever I would say, whatever team or whatever quarterback manages the game better and has a slightly better run game and with a little bit better defense, is gonna take it.
For sure. So we haven't got to this game yet, but Niners Packers. So this game is the Packers are underdogs by 9.5. Going into the Niners Stadium, coming off a bye, Packers big win. Where do you see that game going? Who do you think is going to win? Um, and we can get to your parlays like you said, and just your other bets towards the end of the show. But this is just more of kind of breaking it down a little bit, getting, and then we
Yeah,
can get
yeah,
even more detailed later on before we close out.
yeah. So breaking this game down, so you got another hot offense as Jordan Love and those young wide receivers really surprised me and really stepped up. It's kind of crazy how they don't even have their ace or number one wide receiver, and their passing attack is maybe the best in the game right now. And it's going to be scary to watch that young wide receiver core going forward, especially other teams in the NFC North. And yeah, so it's going to be cool to watch that. Um, Breaking this game down though, 49ers. I mean, they've been the juggernauts of the NFL all year. And do you think they're due for a slip up week?
Well, their slip up week, I think, was against the Ravens. Remember they played the Ravens. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks before the season ended, and they got dominated by the Ravens. I think the Packers are going to use that game film to break down the game plan for this week to stop Purdy. To stop, I think what they want to do is make they want the Niners to run the ball. That's how
Yeah,
they because they want to keep Birdie contained in that pocket. They don't want to have him get the ball down out of his hands quick because Purdy gets the ball out of his hands quick to those quick receivers, and of course I want the Packers to win this game for selfish reasons. Do I think they win it? Me personally, no. Um, you hit it on the money with Jordan Love and the Packers offense, the way they're gelling and playing right now. Uh, but I just don't see it being enough. That
I agree.
Niners team is just they've been dominating all year except for one game against the Ravens, and they've had a week off to kind of just get healed up, get rested up, and then they saw that they're taking the Packers, number 7 seed Packers. So, and Packers being underdogs by 9.5, I don't even see them covering that. I think the Niners probably blow them out. Um,
Yeah,
but again, I'm hoping the Packers win. I had a feeling they'd win against the Cowboys. I think it's a different situation. The Cowboys are choke artists in the playoffs. Dak Prescott.
frauds.
We saw today that Mike McCarthy is being retained. He's not being fired. So that's huge. And Bill, I'll get to the coaching scenarios here after this. But yeah, so I see the Niners winning this game in a blowout fashion, unfortunately. And then hopefully our Buccaneers will be playing the San Francisco 49ers in NFC Championship game. My dream scenario is the Packers winning against the Niners, the Bucks beating the Lions, Buccaneers hosting the NFC Championship game here in Tampa, Florida.
Yes, what an awesome little miracle that if that would happen right there. But you're right. I think the 49ers just come out and just kind of knock them in the teeth really quickly. And I think it's going to put the Packers in their place. And I really think that you take the Jordan Love, like I know we're not really getting into the bets now, but Jordan Love over passing yards, they're gonna be playing from behind most of the game. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, I'm hammering the 49ers, man. They're legit this year, and I just CMC is gonna eat.
Yeah, he is. I definitely think that's what they need to do early is get him involved, get him going early and quickly, and then just they jump out to like a 14-0 lead early on and never look back. But
It's
yeah,
kind of like what the Packers did against Dallas, you know?
they sure did, man. That game was
Yeah.
just from the get go. Packers owned them, and laid the smackdown on all their candy asses, and they send Cowboy fans crying home.
Yes, yes. That I believe the Cowboys defense just wasn't there. You know, they didn't come up to show up to play. That's a very offense heavy team. And what have I kind of gonna say this all show today? Defense wins championships,
Yeah.
and
So
that's what
now
they're
with the
lacking.
Cowboys situation, let's play. I like so I know I like to make you play general manager, president of operations of the team. What are you doing with in the off season if you're Cowboys? If you're Jerry Jones, are you since you're retaining your coach? Are you moving on from Dak Prescott? You moving him? What are you doing? What's your how do you make your team get over that playoff hump to get that ship, that title, that championship that you haven't won since the early 90s?
Yes, has Dak Prescott proven that he's a Super Bowl quarterback? No, he has not. I believe you move on from the dude. You, I mean, you got pieces to trade away. You think about it. They got a Super Bowl roster, in my opinion. A couple of injuries on the defensive side kind of screwed them a little bit, but you got receivers: C.D. Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup. Those are all, and then their new up and coming tight end, what Ferguson.
Yep.
I mean,
And they got
what I
a really good O line too. Don't.
yes. For some reason, I mean, Dak Prescott's not doing it. It's kind of the consistency over you've seen over the years. And don't get me wrong, I don't think he's like the worst quarterback, or I just don't think he manages the game well.
Now, what do you think he just the pressure gets to him? What do you think it is?
The, maybe not the pressure is just I don't know. He's constantly looking downfield. I feel like he doesn't really take what the defense gives him, and he doesn't just manage the game well. You know, I don't see the Dallas sustaining drives. You know, 6 7 minute drives when they're needed. You know, to really tire out a defense, and I think that goes a long way. It's not about throwing 350 yards every game. It's all about game management, and you can see the quarterbacks that are still in it that they're doing that well.
Yeah. Well, now so what? Let's play the same scenario for the Eagles. Are you get firing the? Are you firing the head coach? Are you keeping them? Are you keeping Jalen Hurts? What are you doing with him? He's keeping the team. What are you adding? What are you subtracting? What do they need to do to get back to the Super Bowl and to win the championship?
Well, I think Philadelphia fans need to just calm the fuck down. Like,
What do you mean? Were they really uptight this past Monday night, Adam?
yeah, they were. For instance, yeah, I had to get security calling me for standing up during a playoff game. So that was
Oh
cool.
wow! Can
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
let the people watching know what happened there? Maybe.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So honestly, man, I cheering my ass off all game, and this third quarter comes around. You know, I got a bunch of old fuck Eagle fans behind me, and they're getting mad. I'm standing up, and you know what? They think they're in their own environment. You know, like they got a say in everything,
Mind you,
and
remember people, this is the fan base that throws snowballs at Santa, threw batteries at people, So just to remind y'all. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. And popcorn at their coach.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, so they eventually moved, and next thing you know, about 10 minutes later, security comes up, like 3 or 4, like I say two police officers and a security guy, and they're just like they asked us, so what happened, man? I was like, you know what? These Eagles fans behind us were mad. I was standing up, and I think they're sore losers. You know what they did? They're like, all right, man, we get it. Have fun, man. They walked right back down, let me keep going. So it was just like, yeah, I had fun tripping those Eagles fans.
Now you made some of them cry home. He literally people. He made Eagles fans go cry home and went to mommy and daddy down in the basement.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
but no, let's get back to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
I think Nick Sirianni, or however you pronounce his last name,
Yeah.
he brought you to a Super Bowl, and I mean, starting off the season really hot. I mean, it's something just fell apart. I mean, they got hot too early,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe
Remember, it's that
we
saying.
don't.
It's not how you start; it's how you finish. Sorry.
That's right. No, you're good. You're good. But you know, at the end of the day, as you know, fans, media, analysts, whatever, you don't really know what's going inside of that locker room. That's you know, you assume this, blah blah blah. But I think Eagles fans are overreacting over this. They got the best of them. They weren't healthy, and it kind of just fell apart. And sometimes, Ryan, shit happens. There's next year.
Yeah, well, just like Cowboy fans who say they're going to win it every year, there's always next year.
Yeah, that's
Now,
right.
so Belichick's having his second interview with the Falcons today. Do you think that would be a great hire for the Falcons? Do you think Belichick should go to the Falcons? If you were him, do you wait to see what other team options there are? What do you think of that situation there in Atlanta?
Yeah, a complete win-win situation for both parties there. I mean, that Falcons job is very enticing with all the young talent they have. I mean, it's all about just finding the right guy to utilize that talent.
Mm-hmm.
And if Bill Belichick goes to Atlanta, they're gonna be contenders for sure.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
mean, with
bad for the Bucks for sure.
yeah, it would. But you know, Robinson, you got Kyle Pitts, Drake London, you got, and then you got Jonnu Smith, and then their defense kind of keeping them in games and all season long, I believe. So it's very enticing job, and I know last show we talked about the, the different job openings that were you'd be attracted to as in
Mm-hmm.
the Chargers, but I now that I think about it, this Atlanta one's probably the most has the most attraction.
And I think he thinks the South is a little weaker, and so he probably gets his wins because he
Oh
obviously
yeah,
he's
that
going
plays
because
into
he
it.
wants to break Sean Schuler's record, and but I also where do you see them going quarterback in the draft? Maybe if Belichick does get that job, do you see him bringing in a free agent QB? What do you see them doing? Because they definitely have to address that situation. Their quarterback situation is awful.
Yeah, yeah. They definitely bring in someone. I don't see them going um, quarterback in the draft. I definitely would bring in a veteran quarterback that has some experience under his belt. Maybe even a Joe Flacco, just someone that fits the Falcon system and uses weapons wisely and uses them efficiently. And I don't believe it's. I want to say it'd be too hard to uh, have a successful season in Atlanta as Bill Belichick with you as a head coach.
Now, if you're Bill, do you get Brady on the phone and ask, "Hey, Brady, are you really done? You want to come help me win a Super Bowl title here in Atlanta?" Or do you, and if he does get Brady on the phone, what does Brady say to him?
Brady says, "Fuck you, man. I already lost my wife over this shit. I think I'm done losing more family members." I would like to see Brady coach, man, quarterbacks coach.
Would you like to see him coach or run or be the team president or well, he is a partial owner in the Raiders, so
Yes, yes. I would like to see him. Yeah, just have a say in anything in an
yeah.
organization.
Well, I'm sure
Would
he has a little now with the Raiders. And would you see Antonio Pierce getting that job with Oak or with the Las Vegas Raiders?
did they lock that in?
No, they haven't yet, but rumor is they're kind of
He's
he's
going
the
to
number
be.
one
Yeah,
candidate.
that's what I've seen too.
Do you think that's a smart coaching hire for them?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Me too.
Go back to last week. Everyone's on board with that, dude. Why
I
would you go
agree.
somewhere else?
What did you think of the Jared Mayo to the Patriots job? That one kind of surprised me a little bit. Having Jared Mayo, I thought maybe they go after Mike Vrabel or even a couple other different ways.
Yeah, I mean they hired within, and that was definitely always a possibility. Especially with the Patriots, just the culture they have up there.
Hmm.
Um, very good cultured organization, and I really like Gerard Mayo and where he's going. And he's a very down to earth guy. You can tell, and he's got a lot of knowledge to bring. And I'm excited to see what he does up there, playing in the AFC East with all those competitive teams. And
For sure.
I think he's going to turn it around for sure. Like I said, I not honestly, man. This is making me feel old. I used to watch the dude.
That's saying a lot if it's making you feel old. Oh no.
Right?
Now, Harbaugh did interview with the Los Angeles Chargers. Uh, I'm sure they offered him the job. If you're Jim Harbaugh, do you stay in Michigan or do you go back to the NFL and go after that Super Bowl ring that just fell through your hands that your brother took from you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You make the NFL transition again, man. There's there's no I believe there's no reason to go back to Michigan with all those allegations and stuff like that. I mean, you've already proved it, bro. Well, how about you go chase a ring and maybe coach against your brother in a Super Bowl again?
Well, if he goes to the Chargers, he won't be able to do that. But the
Oh,
AFC
that's right.
AFC
I'm
Championship,
sorry.
he would though.
I'm thinking the 49ers and
Oh,
Ravens
I know.
a
I
while
hear
ago.
you. But that
But
AFC Championship Harbaugh Bowl would be good
yeah, 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 it would. But we were kind of expecting this one, right?
for sure.
LA Chargers, they want a big name. LA is all about big names. You know that by now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Titans. They haven't even. I don't even know if anybody's even interviewed for that job yet. That's how terrible it must be.
Yes. Well, no one wants that job, man.
Now, what did you think of the Alabama coach that just got hired?
Oh, I believe that's a great hire.
Yeah, you like
I
that
believe
guy
that. Yeah, yeah. To see what he did at Washington, and yeah, he's kind of like already. I've already seen that he's already got the current Alabama players kind of bought in with some trust. So that'll be cool to see. I haven't really seen that. I've seen a good amount of Alabama players enter the transfer portal,
yep.
but not as much as I thought would be. So, but I believe if you play for an organization like that, you kind you kind of got you got to trust the process a little bit. You have to believe that Alabama is going to bring in a good guy, and see, I think a lot of these players now, they new coach comes in, a new coach comes out, they're out. They don't
Yep.
give it a shot, in which they should. But I believe that's a good hire, man.
What about prime time? You think prime time's ready for prime time in the NFL or stay where he's at?
No, maybe we should talk about this like next year around this time. Let's see if he can compete, or at
Okay.
least
You don't think
bring
he leaves Colorado for an NFL team this year?
uh, not until his son is done.
Okay. Yeah, maybe the next year when the son's entering the draft, so he can pick his son in the draft, maybe or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, exactly. He's still got something to prove over there to I'd say NFL. He'd still have something to prove.
Yeah, for sure. So who do you see taking the Washington job since those shoes need to be filled?
I couldn't give you a name, man. What were
I
you
mean,
thinking?
I'll be honest, I have no clue on that area because
Yeah,
I mean that's the Pac-12. That coach left for the SEC. Uh, that job will probably go to someone like who did well in like a 2A or 3A type of college team. You know, someone looking to like move up. And
yeah,
what about the
yeah,
USF coach? So maybe someone like the USF coach would
yeah.
use Washington as another stepping stone for them. Or I'm not saying it has to be the USF coach, but like a coach like that comes
Yeah,
from a
maybe
team.
like a group of 5 team.
Yeah. Could you see the UCF coach doing going there or something? Or
No, uh, Gus Malzahn's pretty bought in here, I'd say. But I'd like to see him exceed expectations this year, and he hasn't done that since Cam Newton and Auburn. So we'll see.
yeah, the
But
college.
yeah, yeah,
There's
maybe a
no
group of 5. Yeah, yeah, right. Group of 5 team, a head coach that wants to prove to college football and higher level college football that they want the job and they're in this game and they're here to stay. But it's all about a different landscape now, taking these jobs and recruiting and maintaining college players getting paid. It's a whole different ball game.
Yes, it is. I agree. So, do you want to uh, break break down like who you might be betting on this weekend for football, or do you want to stay in the college area for a moment, or get back to the NFL? Or
Yeah, we can get back to the NFL. I mean,
all right,
right now, so I put a little parlay kind of player props together, and I got Jordan Love over 250.5 passing yards. Like I said earlier, the Packers will be playing from behind most of all game, and they're gonna have to air it out to even cover that spread. So I'm taking that, and then I kind of so this is kind of like a I don't know maybe you'd call a non-traditional one, but I took the Baker over on 8.5 rushing yards.
Mm,
I saw watching him in that Eagles game. He was kind of looking healthier, I'd say, and he was definitely using his legs more, and he was able to break some good little short runs here and there. And I definitely believe that 8.5 is achievable in one rushing attempt.
what did he get this past week against Philly? In his, do you know offhand?
Um, I could look that up right now.
Because I know he did definitely scramble at least 2 or 3 times and thought they were big yardage plays, and I so I can definitely see him getting that 8.5.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, he only had 16, but it just like looked like he had the mobility and he was willing to move outside the pocket to even make a check down or even had the option to run.
For sure. I mean, he got us the first couple first downs on 2 of those scrambles. So he's got his head in there. He didn't care about he's played his demeanor. He has changed so much since being here in Tampa. At first, I was like, I mean, I like Baker when he first came in. Don't get me wrong, but I'm
Hmm.
like, well,
We weren't sold on him though.
yeah, one sold, but he's earned the job. Like I said, I hope he gets a 2 or 3 year deal at least, and if he plays well for those 2 or 3 years, then I definitely extend him even then. But that way we can use our draft capital for offense or defensive line or even secondary. And yeah, I like both of those 2 parlays.
Yes, and then I'm gonna keep it going. It's actually a 4-legger.
Oh, cool.
So and then once again we gotta. I'm gonna take the Texans plus 9.5.
Okay. And with the parlay that you just did with
Yes,
Baker getting over eight and a
yeah,
half
yeah. I'll
and
I'll
Jordan
tell
Love.
you the odds at the end of it.
Okay.
And then I had Isaiah Pacheco over
Ah,
62.5. So I kind of got 3 overs there. But in order for the Chiefs to have a shot at winning, they're going to have to establish that run game. and Pacheco rushed for 86 yards against the Dolphins last week with 23 attempts. So if he even gets 15, 16 attempts, he's gonna hit that over. So that really totaled up to plus, 1,148 and $50 to win like 625. So that's my bet for the weekend.
All right, man. There you go. Yeah, everybody. There's if you're looking for a parlay, maybe jump on Adams, and if not, you can just check out the different um, lines for each little thing because there's so many different things you can bet on throughout the game and everything. It's pretty remarkable how the betting of it all takes place. Now, I want to ask you about CD Lamb and Mike Evans. Like, I've been seeing stuff online today about how CD Lamb just didn't look into it. Like, it seemed like he was bought and paid for or something. Some people were saying, I'm not saying he was or wasn't, but he just
Yeah.
didn't look like himself. Just like Mike Evans. Mike Evans dropped like five balls that were right there. What do you think these guys were just not focused? Do you think something's going on in their head? And do you see Mike Evans turning around this week against the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, yeah. So like CD the week before in the regular season, he popped off, man. And then Mike Evans, past 2 weeks, he's been dropping balls too. Really, yeah, you could go the mental route. Dude, we're at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We can't be perfect all the time, but yes, yes, it's unfortunate. Those two guys have huge seasons and been consistent all year, and then when the time matters the most, they didn't really show up to play. So I do think that those types of players they get back on track real quickly. They have that mindset. All right, man. Like they even play pissed off. They're probably pissed off at themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those caliber players they bounce back. And Mike Evans, he's gonna come in clutch this weekend. He'll definitely maybe catch a tutty or just be a weapon. Just be a threat on the field, and that's what Mike Evans is. And if he catches more balls this week, I think he'll do that. He'll be a threat.
I agree. Now let's do our picks. We don't even have. We can do the picks with the spreads if you want, or just pick teams straight up for people. Who do you have? Texans Ravens. I know we already kind of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we could just make sure everyone knows where we're headed.
Yeah.
Yes, I got the Ravens. There's no reason to not go with the Ravens here. But like I said earlier, maybe take a look at that Houston Texans spread. I think that looks enticing. Um,
Now
but
over under for that one's 44. Adam, do you stay with that? Do you kind of play with that, or do you stay away from that?
I'm gonna stay away from that. I mean, I'm not in the locker room or in the preparations every week for them, but who knows? Vegas is. But yeah, I think Baltimore's game plan would be come out, kind of establish the run game with
Especially in
their
that wind,
running
that
run.
cold weather
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I'm pretty sure they just picked up Dalvin Cook. If
They
I'm
did. Yep.
yeah, yeah. So kind of shows they want depth at the running back position going forward
Well,
and
yeah, all of them
delivering
get
runs
hurt
in the
every
Super
year. It
Bowl.
seems like.
Yes, yes. Run heavy team, and I even saw that Mark Andrews got off of IR.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, that's something
That'd
to
be
play
huge.
for. Yeah, that's something to play for this week for the Ravens, um,
Wow.
for possible weeks forward going on.
Yeah,
But yeah, Ravens all day, man. Lock it in. Lock it
lock
in.
it in right there. But don't. Adam's not. He's saying that straight up now. You're not taking the 9.5 for the Ravens, are you?
No, 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 no. I'm
Yeah.
not taking the
Just
spread
letting
for that.
people know.
Yep.
And just the next game that day is Packers Niners. 9.5 is the spread for the Niners. Um, I would take Niners straight up. The points wise, I did say that the Niners are going to blow that out of the water, so I'm going to stick with that. But what do you think, Adam?
Yes, you're right. I mean, that's why I even have the Jordan Love overpassing yards going to be playing from behind. Yeah, 49ers, there's no reason. They just have the talent. I
Yeah.
think whatchamacallit, the 49ers are going to outcoach the Packers,
Oh, for sure.
and they're going to get Debo Samuel involved, Ayuk involved,
How
George
many
Kittle.
TDs you think CMC gets that game?
How many TDs?
Yeah.
He'll get two.
Think
He'll
two.
get
Yeah.
two.
One passing, one rushing, or
Yeah.
both rushing.
No, I go one passing, one rushing.
And now that game, the over under is 50 and a half.
50 and a half.
Yeah.
The over really looks nice there. What do you think?
Whew. Now, see, I was thinking that at first, but that Niner defense is pretty tough. I can definitely see the Niners putting up about 30, 35. Do I see
Yeah,
the
what?
Packers covering the rest of that? I don't know. I
Yeah, yeah, they might be lucky to get two touchdowns, bro.
yeah, I mean, or they could, who knows, do what they did against Dallas and come out and, that's what makes this stuff tough. I'm not an expert in this, so
Yeah, you exactly. We're not, we're talking our mind, but
yeah.
49ers are watching that Dallas tape. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah, Matt LaFleur is gonna have to switch it up.
Now, do you think they get the running game going in that? Because I think if you get the running game going against the Niners, that's how you beat them.
Yeah, that's what we
It keeps
saw.
ball
That's
control.
what. Yeah,
So,
100%. That's what we saw. What the game you mentioned earlier, back in the regular season with the Ravens and the 49ers,
oh
and you
yeah,
saw how that running game just changed the whole game for the Ravens. So there's no reason not to stick with the run game throughout the game.
yeah. And do you think Aaron Jones has a big game, or do they shut him down?
I, that front seven is just so good. I'd hate to say he's going to have a huge game, but he's definitely going to have the chances to have a game. It's all about what he does with those touches and those attempts, but he's not going to have a big game.
Yeah, because especially if Jordan Love's throwing from behind, if they're behind, Jordan Love's got to keep throwing the ball. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he has a big game. So here's our game coming up: Buccaneers Lions, 6.5. The Bucks are underdogs by 6.5. Over under for that game is 48.5.
Whew. I'm going with the Bucks straight up, baby. Lock them in.
Yeah.
Lock them in.
Now, if you're betting the over under in that game, are you taking over or under 48.5?
Ooh, that's good. This game's going to be more of a defensive game.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I think with the Bucks defense playing as well as they do at this time of year, and we're pretty healthy on that side of the ball right now. And Vita Vea, our two linebackers, our linebacker core, I should say, it's all. It's really going to be about our DBs kind of coming to play and just not letting Laporta and St. Brown and even whatchamacallit, Gibbs out of the backfield a
Mm-hmm.
chance to really exploit us. But if we can manage to keep those guys in check, it's going to be it's a low scoring game. It's not going to be uh, as high as that. I would look at the under for that one.
Okay. So for the Bucks key, are you stopping the run first, or are you letting them run and shutting down the passing game?
Well, we've always been pretty somewhat good at stopping the run. I I'm focusing on St. Brown and Laporta.
Yeah. Because if those guys get
Yeah,
going, Detroit beats Tampa probably.
and then Gibbs out of the backfield. I think you focus on those three guys right there,
Yeah. And
and, and kind of just let our offense work too. Just trust. It's all about trust at the day. You got to trust who's on the other side of the ball as well.
now do the Bucks get the run? Do they need to get the run game going against Detroit, or do they come out passing and play action and all that?
Yes, yes. It's kind of hard to say that our run game hasn't been the best this year. But what I've liked about Dave Canales is once he sticks to something, he sticks with it throughout the game. And I believe you do that. I believe you stick to the run game. You try. It will open up. You just got to wear down that defense and kind of just pull everyone forward a little bit so you can hit a deep shot to Mike Evans or Godwin a time or two. But yes,
Yeah.
you got to stick with the run game here.
Yeah. That's
What do
definitely
you
the
think?
key. That way you can play action pass with Detroit. And 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 you also keep the possession more in the Bucks' hands. If the run game's going well, you want because you want to keep Detroit off the field offensive wise. That stadium's going to be rocking there in Detroit Rock City. Um, so we don't want them. We want to keep that crowd quiet as much as possible.
That's right. Yeah, the Bucks and every other team that's traveling on the road this weekend, try to take that crowd right out of it, right out the gate. It's huge.
Oh yeah, for sure. And in the final game, I know we touched it earlier. Bills Chiefs successes. What does each team need to do to win that game? And who besides the two QBs who needs to step up on each team?
Yeah. So for the Chiefs, I would have to say their receivers. I'm
Yeah.
one of those guys that's on the Chiefs wide receiver shenanigans that they have not been playing too good and not help them out. So yeah, for the Chiefs to pull one out, their receivers are gonna have to show up and play. But really, at the end of the day, man, I do have the Bills winning. They're at home, and
And do
this
they cover that 3-point spread, Adam?
um yes, I believe they do. I mean, it's kind of hard to win a game by 1 or 2 points, and we already saw a game won by 1 or 2 points last week, so I don't see that happening again. So yes, I see every game, this week that everyone wins by at least 3 points. So that looks good if you're taking if you're it's all about going with your gut. If you feel like the Bills are going to win, there's no reason why you shouldn't hammer a -3 to me. But yeah, Bills. This is their Brian. I really believe this is their last shot to win the Super Bowl this year for the
I
Bills.
actually think they might go. I got the Bills. I'm hoping Bills Bucks. But for the FC, I can see the Bills making it this year.
Yes, yes. I'm with you, man. They do have a shot, so it's just
So
all about putting all the pieces together and kind of going for it, man.
so for recap, we got Ravens, Bills, Bucks, Niners.
Yeah.
So there's your
So
AFC Championship and NFC Championship matchups from us. We think
that's
Ravens,
right.
Bills, Bucks, Niners, and we won't go any further than that because we don't want to make predictions that might not even be there yet for the championship weekend. But you got our picks for this weekend. You got the coaching carousel a little bit talk. Where else do you want to go with our talk from here? Anywhere else that's on your mind that you want to talk about or what you see?
Not really much. I feel like we've kind of summarized things up, but my three takeaways from here today is it's a complete team. It's playing best ball on all sides of the ball, which is special teams, defense, and O. So just making sure all of them are clicking together. Everyone's fucking giving 100%. It's all about. You can't start out flat this weekend. That's one big thing. If you start out flat, you're gonna get left in the dust. And I'm just excited for this last month of football. So football fans enjoy it.
Me too. And the only game in a dome this weekend is the Buccaneer game. The rest are outdoors. Advantage to the Buccaneers, I believe, because we don't have to play in that brutal cold weather. And it's going to be interesting to see who comes out of these cold weather games on top. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it myself. Any final thoughts? And then please remind everybody where they can touch you up if they need to hit up some advice, or if they ever want to invite you out to the casinos to help make them some bets and everything. Make sure you guys take care of Adam, though, if you do that, and feed him and give him some drinks.
That's right. But yeah, it just thanks again, Brian. I'm loving the starting this little thing here going on the Brian Perras show. Love to be on here.
We
And
might need
yeah,
to change it to the Brian Perras and Adam Altman show, since make you a regular.
yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there. But I believe you got to start somewhere, and one day we will. We're gonna get this thing rolling. And I appreciate all you guys for watching. It's been fun. Yeah, you can reach out to me at Instagram at Adam under 2 underscores Altman, or you can reach out to my Gmail account if you want any more bets that I'm thinking of this weekend at Adam Altman 0727 at gmail.com. So yeah, there's my contact. Feel free to give me a shout. But yes, thanks Brian for having me on. What do we got? We got the Ravens, Niners, Bucks, and Bills this weekend. So you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, man, it's always great to have you. It's a blessing. You make the show better tenfold, and I don't know. It's fun to talk about the sports stuff, world, NFL, football, little college, and just break it down and give people a just a little education. Some people might not follow it this close, so they can take our opinions and what. Now, we're not experts. We're not pros at this. We don't get paid to do this, so don't take out any of your frustration if our picks aren't 100%. And but we just do this because we love it. It's fun. Hopefully, we make a few extra bucks along the way.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, hey, have a safe trip this weekend, man. Love you, and God bless you.
I appreciate that. Love you too, man.
Take care. See you.
See you next week.
That was Adam Altman, baby, the man, the legend. He broke down the games for you. He did a great job. So if you're looking to make some bets, you can use this information all you want, but at the end of the day, go with your gut. Go with what your gut is telling you always. Not even just betting and gambling, but just in life itself. We like to question and second guess our gut, and if we just would have went with it the first time, we would have been successful. So don't overthink. Don't second guess your gut. Go with your gut. It was a heck of a fun football weekend. We were blessed to be at the game and just give you the stadium live shots of what we saw over the weekend. Obviously, we don't get the broadcast information, so we just give you our eyes and our ears and what we experience and see, and we just enjoy breaking down the games and things like that. Our sports show will expand. Who knows? We might even just change the name of it, even though we are on our Next Gen USA and Centralist TV network. This show is allowed to go wherever we want, and we like to do that because sometimes talking politics always is, you want to be able to expand a little and give yourself a little break, because the same political crap over and over, the same new world order, same evil that these people are doing all the time. It's nice to just talk about other things and how we need to take politics out of sports and take politics out of things that where people like to have entertainment purposes, to just be away from all that. And that's what we want to bring here, is just fun talking about sports, different things, breaking down the games, a little sports betting. It is legal finally here in Florida, so we get to partake in it now. And that's my favorite thing about it. It keeps sports more entertaining. I think I was telling my cousins this past weekend, it's more fun when you have a little something on the games. Now, like when the games aren't on the line, like I think it was like the last week of football, if a team wasn't playing for a playoff position, it was really, what's the point of watching that game? It was really boring. Like, it's like, if it ain't your team, and like, but you throw a little money on it and make, like for me, the Ravens Texans game. I don't really care about it. I hope CJ Stroud does a great job, and I'd love to see the Texans win. But throw a little bet on it or something, then man, it's exciting. Like I'm like, oh, ooh, I'm like you're watching it, and we were actually tailgating for the Bucks game, and some of the guys had money on the Steelers Bills. It made the game more interesting because obviously that game was not interesting at all if you don't have anything on it. And yeah, so that's what it is. Don't get, if you have a gambling issue, maybe stay away from that. And especially don't bet money you don't have, and of course people in the economy that we're in are struggling big time. And but this is definitely a way to make some money but also lose too. And at least with sports betting though, you're not betting against the house, which is great. You're not playing a game in a casino where the house usually always wins. This is more of, I mean, obviously too, it is kind of a rigged system as far as insiders, the bettors putting the money lines out. They have the inside information and stuff like that. So, and a lot of times their spreads are pretty spot on. There's not many times that they're pretty far off. I should have actually looked at what the spreads were for this past weekend's game and just kind of look to see if they were far off from a point spread, because the Packers came out and whooped some candy ass, and I think, I don't even know what the over under was in that game, but they definitely covered the over because the Packers had 40 something points, and I think Dallas scored, I don't even know, I think it was high 20s, low 30s in what was a blowout because they were just playing from behind the whole time. So that was like over 70 points right there, and I'm sure the over under was probably if low 50s or high 40s. So just picture that game. That they covered that by over 20 points. The bettors aren't really that far off all the time like that. And for my two that I'm very curious to see is they have the point spread high for the Texans game, and it was in the Niner game, I believe. And I'll be interested to see where those lines, how close they are for the 9.5s, and see how close they are with that. The Bucks game, I hope to God they got that one wrong. They got the Bucks underdogs by 6.5. So overall, my thing is I usually never bet on my team. This week, I think I will. Maybe throw a few bucks onto that Buck game and take those points. But overall, that's a breakdown. We're looking to bring on a couple former Hall of Fame WWE wrestlers on the show. We're working. I don't want to say the names right now because I thought I had them and then it kind of went dark on that. So I don't want to give out the guest's name, but we're definitely working on bringing in wrestlers. We're going to have a wrestling segment as well eventually. And, when other sports kick off, baseball's coming up. I'm sure Adam will love to talk a little baseball. We stay away from the NBA. At least I do, because NBA sucks. I can't stand it. I won't watch this. I grew up in the Jordan era, so I got to see the greatest basketball ever played. And it's hard to watch this soft era of basketball. So unless Adam breaks it down, I'll be staying away from the NBA. Maybe college hoops, because I can't believe it. March Madness is going to be coming around the corner here soon. We're in mid-January, so March Madness will be in another month and a half be starting popping again, and same time as spring training. So we got a lot of sports coming up to cover. We still have the rest of the postseason coming up here, and then the Super Bowl breakdown. That would be fun. I wish this show was big enough yet so Adam and I can go during media week for Super Bowl coverage. That'd be sweet, but we're not at that level yet. Not yet, but maybe one day soon. But we have some exciting sports coming up. Hockey's going on right now. I don't really follow it much during the regular season. it's my favorite postseason sport because it's just so exciting. Hockey playoffs. Like I didn't grow up a hockey person. I'm from Florida, born and raised. We don't have snow. We don't get cold often, so I was never a big hockey but we live in the Champa Bay, baby, where we have the Stanley Cup champs from a couple years ago. Um, so we have an exciting team here. So I do like to talk about them when I can. But I'll probably start watching more of that as the season goes on and closer to playoffs. But so yeah, that's the things we have coming up. And that's about it. I don't want to stay on too long. We're not going to talk any politics really much today. We covered sports for you and the coaching carousel a little bit. We'll maybe have more soon because these teams, the longer they wait, the more it sets them back as far as just because we're getting closer to the draft. Draft time is in April, late April. So usually you want to have your head coach getting prepared. You don't want them drafting some bust. I believe Caleb Williams will be a bust. He is projected number 1 overall to the Bears. That's if the Bears don't trade out of that top spot. Which, if I'm the Bears, I'm definitely not drafting Caleb Williams. If I'm staying in that position, I'm going Marvin Harrison Jr. If I'm trading out, you get a boatload of picks till we can to keep building that franchise, keep Justin Fields, just protect him, give him an opportunity. If you're keeping Justin Fields, I wouldn't trade too far down from that number 1 pick because you want to stay within that top 3 or 4 of being able to get Marvin Harrison Jr. because I definitely believe he doesn't fall out of the top 5. You have Arizona and you have the Patriots in that top 5 who might eyeball Marvin Harrison Jr. because they don't need, Arizona doesn't need a quarterback if they're keeping Kyler Murray. So they probably would go receiver. He would at least be the next Larry Fitzgerald there for them. I think he'd be a solid pick. And he's someone that I don't see being a bust compared to the quarterbacks where Washington's drafting at 2. The experts, I give them quotes because these guys actually get paid and they're so far wrong so many times. I don't know how they keep a job. And yet here we got our sports show. I think our sports show would do better than most of them personally. And if you give us the budget that those people get, man, we'd make this thing. Stephen A. Smith, you'd have to watch out, brother, because we would take over your show. But no, I don't see the North Carolina kid that is projected number 2 to Washington. I mean, I don't know much about him. I haven't watched UNC, but quarterbacks are tough, man. As you can see, most of them, if you look at the last 5 years, most of them in the first round, and even if you just look overall in general in an NFL, those first round QBs, most of them are bust, man. They don't live up to what their hype is. So anyway, that's just my view on anything, my breakdown of this stuff going on for the weekend and what's coming up. And again, I just want to thank you all for tuning in. We did see some eyeballs today. Hopefully you learned a little bit and used some of it. And if not, that's okay too. And you can reach out to the Brian Perras Show, Next Gen USA, Centralist TV, YouTube, Instagram. If you have any questions, comments, any death threats, whatever you want to say, you know what? I don't care. You're not gonna offend me. I only have one feeling left, and it's really hard to hurt that feeling. But anyway, I hope you all have a blessed weekend. Enjoy the games. I look forward to seeing what happens this weekend, and I look forward to talking to you guys on the sports show next week. We will have some political shows coming up. We'll have some guests, and look forward to just seeing you guys on board. God bless you all. God bless our republic. Prayers for healing. Prayers for this world and this nation. And pray for peace, love, and prosperity. We got a lot of politics stuff to talk about coming up. The continuing resolution, it looks like the Republicans are going to cave again without any border security. It's just ridiculous. The spineless cowards we have, the ballless people that we have representing us is just sickening, bro. It's just. But anyway, have a blessed weekend. Woo! We are out.